Welcome to Kids Film Review episode 3.
Yay!
Yay! That's a bit more enthusiastic this week, Shona. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, welcome back.
This week we're going to be reviewing Howl's Moving Castle.
Yep. But before we get onto Howl's Moving Castle, we'd just like to have a bit of feedback and news.
We'd like to thank you for mentioning the sound issues from last week. Hopefully this week we've turned ourselves up a bit louder and we'll be on a better scale with the girls.
Yeah, just to let you know, each week or each episode we're trying out a few different things in how we film it and how we film the girls and things. So sometimes it works better, sometimes not. We're just learning as we go along here. So.
We've also got a discussion going on Facebook group. When I said discussion, I think there's like 2 posts at the moment, about the apostrophe in our title, whether or not we need it, how many we need and where it goes.
Yeah, so yeah, head over to the Kids Film Review group on Facebook for that. Okay, so this is our film this week. It is Howl's Moving Castle. And
Miyazaki film.
A Miyazaki film from Japan, yeah. It was released in 2004 and it's based on a novel by a Cornish novelist called Diana Wynne Jones.
Diana Wynne Jones.
Diana Wynne Jones, yeah, that's right. And yeah, well, let's see what the girls thought about this film. And we've got a clip of them now.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay, do you like this one?
Yeah.
And what do you like about this film?
No, it's got scary things in.
It's got scary things in, and what do the scary things do?
And see it. They fly scary things.
Yeah.
Hey.
And what about the girl in this one? Do you like the girl in this one?
Yeah.
What happens to her?
Her married. Nobody. And being the princess. And her turned in scary witch.
She turns into an old scary witch?
Yeah.
And does she turn back into a girl though?
Yeah. So roll that big puddle.
She falls in a big puddle?
No.
What?
In a hole, in a big hole.
She falls in a big hole?
Yeah.
And who jumps in after her?
A bird.
A bird? The bird.
A man bird.
A man bird?
Yeah.
Who's the man bird? Is that Howl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah. That was castle.
The castle?
That was castle.
Where's the castle?
That was castle.
Oh, you like that man? Turnip head.
Yeah.
And there's Charis' flying bird man, also known as Howl.
Yeah.
And he is a key feature. And you do see him as a bird man quite a lot, which is why she referred to him like that.
Yeah, we'll come back to the characters in a minute. We'll just explain the world because it's not a normal fantasy world, which is like all swords and dragons and things like that. It's more Edwardian, isn't it, with a lot of steam engines and things like that.
Yeah, there's definitely magic and sort of weird monsters and things, but not in your classic Disney sense at all.
No. And it has it's set in like a Swiss mountain kind of region.
Is that where it is?
Well, that kind of idea, yeah.
Sort of alpine almost.
Alpine, yeah. And there's a lot of kind of steampunk elements, you know, big battleships and big vehicles and things like that. But it's not out and out steampunk at all. So, well, let's get back to the characters. The 2 main characters would be
Sophie, who's the leading lady, and Howl, who's the magician. And I don't know if you know many Miyazaki films, but on the whole in Miyazaki films there is always a strong leading lady. Often a young girl, really, isn't it? And Sophie is no exception to that rule, except for that she turns into an old lady.
Yeah. Very near the start.
Very near the start, and so for most of the film, she's actually an elderly woman. Yeah.
And the other main character is Howl, of Howl's Moving Castle, obviously, and he's a very powerful magician, but he seems like he's gone rogue, so he's his like elders or the elder magicians or witches around him can't control him, and he won't obey them and things, and he's gone off in his castle to do his own thing.
And he's got aliases. He's also known as Jenkins and Pendragon because he's trying to sort of keep hidden away.
Yeah.
And he has Oh, and Howl's voice is actually Christian Bale, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can hear a bit of a Batman at times.
Yeah, yeah. When he goes really gruff, it's like, yes, I am Batman. I am Howl. And the other voice you recognise is Billy Crystal, who actually plays the fire demon which is in the castle, which provides, this fire demon provides all the energy that the castle needs to get around.
Yeah, he's called Calcifer. He's
Yeah.
one of the best characters. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the another thing about the castle, it does move around. In like it has legs, it walks around. But the other thing is that the front door can be in different places at the same time. So the front door is the front door of the castle. It's also the front door of
Like out to Jenkins' house, isn't it?
yeah, Jenkins, the wizard in one kingdom.
Yeah.
And then it's also the front door to Pendragon, who's the wizard in the other country.
Yeah.
So and then it has a door which seems to go into this weird magical dark cave place.
Realm that we don't really, you don't really see it, do you?
Not at all.
You know.
And so this causes lots of problems as well, because you've got a door which is moving around and you've got the castle which is moving around, and it gets a bit complicated.
Yeah, it's sort of almost like different dimensions, really.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the storyline,
I was
doesn't
going to
it?
sing the other characters quickly.
Oh, we'll just say them as they come up in the storyline. So
Howl bumps into Sophie when she's going to see her sister, basically, and he's being stalked by the witch's henchman, and he just rescues her from these soldiers, and he drops her off at his sister's house.
Yeah,
but then when she goes back to her hat shop, because she owns a little hat shop, the Witch of the Waste catches up to her, and that's when the spell is put on her, and she turns into an old lady.
Yeah, the Witch of the Waste turns Sophie into an old lady, and so she leaves her hat shop and goes up into the wastes and meets a character called Turnip Head, which is a scarecrow with a turnip head, and then bumps into the moving castle. And
meets Calcifer and the little boy who lives in the castle, Markle, who is Howl's apprentice, basically.
Yeah. And then she meets Howl in the castle, and they go on an adventure.
And they have adventures, and they battle the Witch of the Waste, don't they? Mm-hmm. And also Madame Sullivan, who has, and there's also a little dog called Heen, who is the comedy relief.
And Madame Sullivan is like the head witch in the kingdom, who answers directly to the king of the kingdom. Yeah. Anyway, way too complicated. Probably a bit too complicated for
little children.
But they are captivated because the visuals of the film are so good, and there's so much going on that they sit and watch it.
Yeah, and also the themes that run through. I mean, Charis especially, she can definitely pick up on the things like love. And she picks up on the war stuff, doesn't she, and the pacifism, and she gets about the not fighting and the baddies who fight. So although she might not understand the actual plot, she gets the general key themes, and the characters are played well. They're quite convincing adult characters.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the themes, you've got the theme of love. You've also got the theme of selfishness, because Howl is so selfish. He's gone off by himself. He's used to living by himself.
He's a bit of a bachelor, a bit of a lad, isn't he?
He's got so much power, like magical power, that he doesn't really have to do anything or work. And he's just so selfish. But that changes when a girl enters his life.
Yeah, of course.
It's nicely done, though. It's very well done. But
and the other, and that's the other theme, isn't it? Is redemption in a way.
Yeah.
And there's redemption for Howl, but also for the Witch of the Waste too.
Yeah, and I think a good thing about the characters and the plot and the themes, all the characters grow in this film, or they change in some way. There's not. I don't think there's any characters who are just the same at the beginning.
No,
and
there's
the
a
end.
definite. Well, apart from maybe there's a dog.
Yeah, the dog.
Well, no, well, even the dog changes, doesn't he?
Well,
in a way.
Anyway, we won't spoil that for you.
Yeah, and the themes all work in with the plot and with the characters, don't they?
Yeah.
And although they're obvious, they're not necessarily too predictable, which is good.
Okay, for people watching the YouTube video, because this is a complicated film and there's lots going on, we're going to split this into 2 parts. So this is part 1. Click over there or wherever it is, and see part 2. No, click now.